You guys have really enjoyed the videos where we go down the path of installing Linux in order to get some better gaming performance, but today we're going to be installing the official SteamOS.
SteamOS ISO is available for download, and I've seen some people install it on gaming PCs, and we're going to get a sneak peek at potentially the future of gaming operating systems. We'll see if it's any good after a word from today's sponsor.
Now, before you even think about running SteamOS, the first hurdle to overcome is getting a gaming PC to run it on. That's where today's video sponsor Java.gg comes in. Java.gg is a marketplace created specifically for gamers. Whether you're hunting for a new graphics card, a fully custom built gaming PC, or you're ready to sell some of your old hardware, Java makes it quick, simple, and secure. Personally, I've seen some absolute steals on there, ranging from custom builds to insanely low price GPUs. One deal I found earlier is this RTX 2070 Super for only $175. The best part is, every listing is reviewed and every transaction includes buyer protection, so you're not left guessing. Plus, the community makes the platform even better. You can actually chat with sellers, ask questions, and feel good about what you're buying. So if you're tired of sketchy listings, awful deals, and unreliable sellers on other marketplaces, check out Java.gg today and use code TOASTY10 to save 10% off your first order up to $10. Big thanks to Java for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to it.
So as you guys have seen before, there's quite a few OSs out there that are kind of specially designed for gaming on the Linux platform, such as Bazite, and we wanted to actually try the SteamOS because it's like officially out there. Back in the day, we had the big picture, which we thought was going to be like the next big thing, and it kind of just fizzled out, but then the Steam Deck came about, and now they're like, okay, this is doing really good. Maybe we should make this available to the public to install on any device.
Now, the ISO is specifically designed for gaming handhelds. As you might have seen, Lenovo and other manufacturers who make gaming handhelds are now releasing devices with SteamOS on board, so they need to have access to some sort of ISO to be able to do reinstalls if you need to and not just use the Steam Deck recovery software. So this ISO is mainly designed for handhelds, but I've seen a bunch of creators, shout out to Random Gaming in HD by the way, where you can install this on a budget gaming PC using all AMD hardware. The specs we have here is a 9600X with an RX 9060 XT, and it just works. And you can actually use the built-in drivers it comes with, play games on it, and runs very similar to Bazite. So in today's video, we're going to do just that. We're going to do the whole process live. We're going to look for the ISO. We're going to download it. We're going to make the bootable USB. We're going to install it, see if there's any problems along the way, and then we're going to play some games and see if there's any issues and see if SteamOS is on the right track to maybe being the gaming operating system of choice. Okay guys, so we are currently on the website where we can download the Steam Deck image, which is basically a recovery image, but it is just an ISO. So basically, it has the whole install process that you can use just to, install on whatever you want. We're going to download it. It looks like it's about 2.9 gigs. Our internet's actually working properly now today. We had some issues the other day. This probably would have taken way too long. We'll have that download in the background. You got to use Rufus or any sort of bootable USB making tool. Where is the download button for Rufus nowadays? They are loaded up with ads. Holy crap.
I like how it's the same ad on repeat. I don't understand how ISOs are still a thing. It feels so OG because they're basically disk, like they're disk images.
Yeah, so with Rufus here, Rufus, we're going to let Steam Deck download here, but you can see Mark says a repair image, but it works as an install. So again, Steam doesn't tendently want us to do this yet, but I mean, when you give us the option to install an ISO, we're going to install an ISO on a PC, especially with all AMD hardware.
Especially with those Linux boys out there. I mean, they should have known they'd be all over this.
But yeah, we got a little flash drive. It's one of these like basic Micro Center flash drives. Not even a sponsored video, but shout out to Micro Center for selling bulk flash drives at great prices on Amazon, which is funny to me. But I think it's a 32 gig flash drive. You don't need that much, obviously, but it's good to get a nice flash drive, so we can go ahead and put this in here. I'm going to insert it.
Rufus.
And Jackson, once it's inserted, do you want to build the bootable USB?
I'll try my bestest to build it.
It should be as simple as Windows, you would think, but that's why we're recording this whole process, because if it's not, you'll see the hardness of it.
All right, so right when you plugged it in, I see we have our device, and then we have to select our disk here, so we'll probably go to select. Will it let me do it in the...
It just lets you, I think.
Let's try it?
Let's try it as in the zip file. Yep. We want that to be
so
gone.
Scary. It'll be destroyed.
Destroyed. It's gone. Deleting partitions, writing image.
Wow, that's crazy if we don't have to unzip it even. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
So that's actually easier than I thought. And the Windows installs, those are cool because it's like a built-in tool. But honestly, Rufus, you're making it pretty easy for us.
Yeah. So Jonah's like, turn the camera around, show the people what you're doing. He has a sandwich in his hand while we're doing this. So if it's shaky, comment down below.
And call him, everyone comment down below, call him Sandwich Boy.
Sandwich Boy. But we got the USB, I think, good. We'll find out if using the zip file was fine, if we can't boot to it. But one important thing that I've seen is if you're gonna get this installed properly, you gotta go to the BIOS and be sure to turn off Secure Boot. Why? I don't know. But for whatever reason, the Secure Boot disabled. Can I even get into the BIOS is the question. Okay, so let's go to, I'm assuming CPU configuration. Nope.
Probably under boot or security, right?
Yeah, where is boot? Am I blind?
All the way over to the right.
Yeah, let's do boots. So I guess it'd be CSM is enabled. That'd be the same thing as secure boot being disabled. So secure boot, disabled.
Okay.
Cool. Perfect. So we're good there. Now we're going to boot override to our USB. Let's see if this one.
Partition 2.
Yes. Spoiler, we're having issues, but no, Jonas put the last piece of sandwich in his mouth. It stopped recording.
Do you want to try partition 1?
Yeah.
So we've tried 2 other ones now.
So basically, we've tried this one, the normal USB boot. We've tried partition 2. Now partition 1, we're just going to try this to make sure. I'm thinking something's messed up with the drive, the USB. Oh, it was config failed. Hub doesn't have any ports. Wait 10 seconds. Okay.
Scanning.
Hold up. I remember them saying that it does scare you for a second. Welcome to SteamOS. Okay. Oh, wait. It was partition 1.
You know what? Maybe Jonah's little mishap
saved us. You know, I'm not giving him credit for that. We can't give. We cannot give him credit for that. That's fine. Okay, we'll just give it a minute. It's going to run through all this stuff, and then it should just go to a desktop to where we can go through, select what drive we want to install, and go from there. All right, so this is what I was talking about. So now we're on a desktop. Wipe device and install SteamOS is what we're looking for.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
so like.
Yeah, right there.
So this isn't actually like it.
Yeah, no, this is not actually it. So this will say it's going to reinstall, economically undone, permanently destroy all data. Yes, That's what we want. Yeah, it'll just all get deleted. So don't test this on a system with multiple drives because you will probably delete absolutely everything. Uh-oh. This is an error. It says, did not receive a reply. Possible cause included the remote application did not send a reply. What does it even mean? Oh, wait, it's still doing something. Okay, I'll just ignore that error for a second. It threw an error, but it's still going. All right, guys, re-imaging complete. Hit proceed. Let's ball. I have a feeling it didn't work. Of course it's not easy for us. Of course.
It never is.
Those damn content creators make it look so easy, but it isn't. It never is. All right, guys, checking back in because what I did was remake the USB. I was a little hesitant on the way we made the USB not being working properly, and I went ahead and did that on my PC, downloaded the ISO again, installed the USB, got that all set up, and then I went into the BIOS and made sure we had CSM on, legacy mode on, and secure boot disabled, and I rebooted to the USB, and now I went through this install without throwing any of those weird errors we were having before. So potentially, if they proceed, oh wow, it's actually rebooting now. I think this is gonna work. We'll give it a go though for sure, but it is rebooting currently. Okay, we're not there yet apparently. All right, well I guess you could say this is the fun or the pain of the process of trying something that isn't officially supported because there's really no guides out there to try to help you if you have any problems. We're trying some more troubleshooting here. So currently, the one thing I just had a random epiphany of was just, hey, maybe the GPU is a problem because it may not have a supported driver for the 9060 XT, which didn't make a whole lot of sense because it did display out when I go through the install process, but I tried it anyway with this RX 7600 and still the same thing. It'll boot, land on a black screen. So what I decided to do was try a different computer altogether. This is a build that we're gonna be selling at PC Bros. Has an older CPU in it. I say older, it's still a modern CPU. It's a 5800 XT. So we got AM4 here, but it also has a 9060 XT. So I'm gonna try this. Try and install in here. This doesn't have Windows on it yet or anything. So if that works, then maybe our test bench and CPU are a little bit too new to run this setup, potentially. I don't know. We'll give that a go and see if we get the same behavior. Because if that's the case, then something weird is going on in the process of getting the install done. See that? See that right there? It's not working. I have no idea why it made it look so easy. All these other creators who downloaded it, made the bootable USB, had everything going, booted into Windows. I'm just getting black screens. I'm gonna leave this up and walk away for a bit. Maybe it's doing something. And then I'll come back to it with some fresh eyes tomorrow and hopefully have a little more ideas on what we can do to potentially get this working. Jackson made the joke, potentially we might just install it on a handheld just to show you guys that we can install it, but apparently on a budget PC, we failed to be able to install it. So we will come back after a little bit of rest and see if I have any more ideas on I can try. Because we did a whole new PC, so there has to be something with the USB and how I'm installing it, right? Well, you know what, guys? This is a working on the weekend project because, well, I'm here. Hey, what's up? So I'm here on a Sunday because I was doing some research at home, and I feel like just general key advice to people out there who are doing troubleshooting or some sort of project that is just frustrating them. I mean, this is not really that big of an important project, but anyways, this is good advice. Step away for it from a little bit. Do some research. You'll come back in with a clear mind, and normally you can figure out some solutions, and I think I might have some solutions. Now, I found 2 Reddit threads on r/SteamOS that may have a solution to my problem. The first thing that I was convinced was the problem was that the 9060 XT was not going to be supported by SteamOS, and I think I'm pretty confident that is the case because I see multiple threads saying that RDNA 4 just isn't supported by SteamOS right now, which makes sense because it's only designed for handhelds. I don't really know why it would be supported, so we'll get there in a bit. But one thing that somebody said on one Reddit thread, which was talking about how they were stuck on a black screen after the install, the advice they gave was to plug up a secondary monitor via USB-C to either, I'm assuming, the motherboard or as another monitor on the graphics card, because what's happening is for whatever reason it's defaulting to a different display that they think is there. I haven't plugged up 2 monitors before. That would be an easy test here. I don't think this is going to work, but I'm going to record it anyways just to be safe. And again, this was based on somebody doing something I believe with a handheld. So again, what we're doing here is unprecedented. There's a couple creators who've done it and managed to make it work somehow, and didn't seem to be as difficult as it was for me, but maybe I have a new version of the ISO that makes it more difficult. So we're going to try the 2 monitor solution here. We have a portable monitor and a main monitor hooked up, and then from there, well, I got to do something devious, guys. I had to go on Amazon because unfortunately, we don't keep any like older gen AMD GPUs. The oldest one I had was the RX 7600, which in theory should be supported, but just to rule out the old GPU support problem, I bought up one of these, the RX 580 2048s on Amazon, just so I had it. We don't keep those things in hand anymore because, you know, they're old GPUs and I don't really recommend anyone keep them on hand anymore, but that'll be my next solution. And then lastly, somebody in Reddit, Braum, by the way, shout out to Braum, was just saying trying an Intel system because I didn't realize Random Gaming in HD did use an Intel system for his CPU. Maybe 9000 series Ryzen isn't the move, but I did try an AM4 CPU as well, so we're gonna try something here, guys. If this works, you're gonna see this video. If it doesn't work, you're not gonna see this video. So we might as well try the first thing first and see if it works. And I'm just gonna put this on a tripod and we are going to hit that power button. This is still the same CPU and GPU combo from the last time we were testing this. In theory, if this person is right, one of these monitors, and I'm assuming it's gonna be the left one, should work. And we shouldn't be stuck on a black screen. So I did plug it up to the iGPU, and the iGPU doesn't seem to be working. Let's try rebooting with it plugged up to the graphics card. Honestly, this is one of those long shot things that I don't expect to work, but I figured I'd try it before we just go through all the effort of fully swapping out our GPU to something different, because yeah, I just wanna make sure that this 9000 series won't work. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to cut it. Yeah, we're getting no signal on both. So let's try running. I'm gonna do one more test. One more test, I'm just gonna run just the USB-C, which I don't think will give me video out on this board, but it could. I'm just gonna run just the USB-C, and we're gonna reboot one more time and see if that works. And if that doesn't work, then I'm just gonna swap GPUs because I feel like this is not gonna cut it. Yeah, we're not getting anything now. Okay, I think it's time to try the 580 2048 and just hope that works. I feel like it'd be very ironic if what saves the day is this hunk of GPU, the legend itself, the 580 2048. But will we get past the point that we were at before? Or am I gonna need to reinstall SteamOS again? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, let's go, 580 2048. So, the GPU was too new. The 580 2048, the legend, seems to have made this work now. Okay, so one issue I have seen people say, and we'll go through the setup process just to make sure. Let me put the camera back over here. I've seen some people say that there's an issue with like internet connection. Let's make sure that we do have internet connection, because the thing with SteamOS is you have to make sure you're able to sign into a Steam account. Guys, this is working. This is definitely not the level of GPU I wanted, but the fact that I'm able to get this to work after all this stuff I've been dealing with, magnificent. Oh, this is beautiful. All right, guys, we'll see where it goes next. All right, guys, we're obviously gonna have to blur all of this here, but this is the initial setup. We'll obviously switch back to our normal capture card setup on the main set when Jackson gets back on Monday, but I gotta get some games downloading and make sure there's nothing major going on here. I'm gonna use the mobile app. Sweet, looks like it works. Ah, we're here. Welcome to Steam Deck. Okay, so basically, as you can tell, this is a version of SteamOS. And I will say, shout out to Bazite, you've done an amazing job making this look very similar and operate pretty much identically and work honestly a lot better. If you are at home and you are trying to do something like this on a PC and you're just fed up with Windows, I would start with Bazite first, because Bazite is the same thing, but it allows you to install it on pretty much any hardware, and I would assume 9070 XT would work perfectly fine on that. So definitely do that then, but as you guys can see, we can get software updates. So it looks like there was a client update. Oh, something went wrong. Oh, we're already encountering issues. Nice. That's a great start. We're already seeing some bugs. Nice. But we're gonna install some games. One thing I'm noticing is it's not giving me, well, let's see if I can go to settings and see if it'll show me what driver I have, which I believe you can see under system. So yeah, so we have version 3.7.8, SteamOS Hollow, codename Hollow. If you scroll down further, we have the 9600X, so that is showing up, and we have a 580-2048. Let's go. I know I've seen some creators go up to like a 5500 XT and that works. For some reason 7600 didn't work. Maybe that's not supported. So maybe the cap right now is like 5500 XT or maybe 6000 series. I didn't have like a 6600 on hand, so I know at Bazite it works, but I'm gonna go to my library, because why I mentioned that is because if you look under here, normally there's like a Steam supported section that shows the games that are supported on Steam, but it's not showing that right now. So I'm just gonna err on the side of caution and install games that I know work. A little more demanding games. Obviously, it is still a 580-2048. Like, we're not gonna have an amazing experience gaming on this thing, but we'll do Cyberpunk. I don't think Doom the Dark Ages will work, but since I'm not recording today, I might as well download some games and just see what happens. I have no idea if this game is even SteamOS verified. It's not even letting me click install, so maybe not. Or this thing is absolutely bugging out because there's a game downloading. It's not letting me hit install, so we'll move on from that one. Maybe there is something going on there. Skyrim, yeah, let's try that. There's some weirdness going on here, I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna leave this to download. I have some time to just wait here for this to download. We'll see if that fixes it and if I can install another game, but so far it's acting a little weird. It's having some weird behaviors. Maybe, you know what I need? Let's try a controller real quick. Forget this entire operating system is built on the fact that it's for a Steam Deck. Okay, let's just work. It will just work. Is there an update that needs to be done? Let's just apply this update. We'll try the update first to see if that fixes anything. Maybe it desperately needed that update, Doom the Dark Ages. Ah, it did. All right, we'll try Skyrim. Yeah, okay, that was really weird. So we'll just download those games. Looks like they're all downloading. We got the Proton layer going. So we got Cyberpunk, Doom the Dark Ages, Elder Scrolls, and Half-Life 2. I feel like I need one more. Left 4 Dead 2. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, so we got some classic games. We got some more demanding games. We got everything installing, and at this point, unless something dramatic happens, I got this working to where we can come back in on Monday. Jackson and I can actually test this thing, but hope this was entertaining along the way. Realistically, I could have just started this with a different GPU and this video would have been incredibly boring because it would have just worked, but I showed you guys the limits of it, so hopefully that adds something. We'll be back on Monday. We finally got it working, Jackson. It's finally working.
Yeah, I heard it was really easy and like very intuitive.
No problems. One thing to mention while you're getting initial look-arounds of the operating system, we ended up swapping the GPU real quick, which I can actually just show you guys on this camera. I forgot I had a 5700 XT. Which honestly is in that generation where this would work perfectly fine. So I swapped that and it worked fine. So the 580 was allowing me to figure out the problem, but in the long run, I wanted something with a little more horsepower to play games.
So now, all right, one interesting question I have that I totally didn't think about. So with Bazite,
yes,
it's Linux. So
yes,
there's a lot of certain games that you can't play.
Yes.
With SteamOS, it's Linux, but can you play everything?
You can still, it's basically the exact same as Bazite, where it has the Proton layer within Linux.
Compatibility. Okay.
But the issue still remains for games like Fortnite, any
with
like
anti-cheat.
Warzone, anything with an anti-cheat. Those games still won't work. There is a desktop mode still I've not swapped to yet, but it has the desktop mode, so you can use keyboard and mouse traditionally, which should allow you to, I think you hit the middle button and then go to power. And then, yeah, switch to desktop. So let's take you to a normal desktop environment you might be used to with, well, not necessarily Windows, it's gonna be different, but it should just be a normal desktop with Firefox installed.
Yeah, usual, Linux stuff.
Usual Linux stuff. So if you wanted to use it in this environment, you could. Obviously, the scaling is really big right now on this 4K monitor, but
Yeah, it feels massive. So yeah, we got our home Dolphin. So I wonder, is this kind of that weird? Is this like a similar OS to like what we used to install Steam? I wonder.
I think so. So I think what we had was almost like a bootable environment to where you could go in and do some stuff. I figured out you can break the installer by trying to actually interact with it without installing it. So fun thing there. But but you do have the desktop environment. The thing is, it feels very similar to Bazite. But the one things that I did notice is it doesn't have the section under the game category which shows like Steam approved games like Bazite does. It feels very broken. It doesn't feel amazing, but we did install a couple games. We got Left 4 Dead, we got Spider-Man, Half-Life 2, we got Doom the Dark Ages. I'm curious to see if that's even going to work. I was worried with the 580 it wouldn't even launch properly just because, well, the 580 is, well, kind of a buggy.
It's a 580.
But the 5700 XT, you have a little bit more power to try. But yeah, you can try whatever game you want, just see what it looks like. Left 4 Dead with the controller, and we can do keyboard and mouse also. So we have both options. And again, this is not perfect. This is an ISO that is designed to recover and install in a Steam Deck. Oh yeah, you get the virtual mouse control. Recover an image on a Steam Deck or a Lenovo Legion Go. It is not designed for desktops, but we managed to make it somewhat work.
But it's cool because the idea of us testing this is, hey, maybe soon it will be a thing.
Because this was difficult, but once supported GPUs are raised higher, it really wasn't that difficult. It really just took the right graphics card to actually get this to work. And once that's actually supported by Steam and they release a normal desktop version, that'd be kind of cool. Now, I will say audio, I plugged up these speakers, and I don't know if we have to change the audio device in Steam or what, but it doesn't seem to be playing out of them unless this is muted. No,
no, you have the mods still.
Yes, I still have all the mods. Love Steam for being able to like carry that over. So I have all the mods. Well, we may not have audio currently. We'll have to troubleshoot that for the next one, but
we don't need audio.
You don't need audio in games. You don't need that. It's not important. Obviously, this is a very light title, Left 4 Dead, and it's a Valve game, so it should run pretty decent on SteamOS. Yeah, running controller or keyboard and mouse, you can do either one with this operating system. My hopes are if they eventually release a desktop version, they prioritize the desktop environment more than the just controller handheld environment, because in that case, you're able to just do a lot more. And also, I'm noticing like some of the overlay stuff, like CPU, it's not showing any wattages on the CPU. Apparently the CPU is not fully supported. GPU, it's showing wattages and power draw because this series of GPU is actually supported, but just some weirdness. Again, I probably would just install Bazite if you were trying to do this at this point, but it's cool to see you can get this working.
Oh yeah, so far, I mean, Left 4 Dead's looking really good. I do like being able to use like keyboard or mouse. You can kind of switch back and forth, which is really cool, and that's like not something you can really do. I mean, you can kind of do it on console, but let's be honest, it doesn't work on like half the games very well. So yeah, it's still definitely an advantage of just running like a Linux-based OS on a PC, but let's go ahead and try out another game.
Guys, so we're loading in Spider-Man. We got speakers to work. Believe it or not, Bluetooth speakers. Not really sure what was going on with the auxiliary. Maybe there is something you can manually do, but I'm going to chalk it up to the fact that, once again, Steam does not want us to be doing this, so it's probably not going to run properly. But for the sake of entertainment, we got Bluetooth speakers to see what the delay's like, if there is any major delay.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Oh, there you go.
I think everything wants to be Steam Deck. So
Yes.
that's why it was like HDMI Navi 10, which it just wasn't working.
This is a game that I'm glad we have the 5700 XT, because the port 580, it would have ran, but I'm glad we have a little bit more horsepower here. Not playing the latest Spider-Man. I installed this one on purpose because I knew the 580 wasn't going to be it, but now that we have a better GPU, give it a go.
You know, honestly, compared to the Steam Deck, the 580 at like 720p, low 1080, that'd probably be about how it runs.
Yeah, it'd be very realistic for sure. All right, so currently, oh yeah, we're getting a nice, smooth 100 FPS, running 1080p. Now, one thing I think I can do, let's see, can I still do? Yeah, so we are currently disable frame rate limit. We were limited at 120, so we don't need that anymore.
You know, this is something I'd love for Windows to eventually get, is like how all these nice OSs have the performance overlay.
Yes.
I would love if we could just get that to where every game ran with it, because we take what, like 15 minutes to set up Afterburner every
This
single
thing
PC.
being baked in and all the stuff you can do with it is so cool. That's why I've always really liked Bazite, because like even if you want to do something a little more crazy, wow, look at that, there's more. There's more. You can, guys, you want to see all this stuff? This is for the nerds out there. Here you go. You can see all the VRAM, you can see all the stuff, and I will say...
It even shows you like FSR off or on.
Yep, it shows you everything. So, a lot of different cool resources here. I think, are we still limited to 120 in game? I can't see anything now, though.
I noticed Left 4 Dead was also 120. I'm wondering if, does this OS have like a cap maybe?
When you do turn, what are you at now? Let's see, Sky Test. Oh, yeah, we're above it now.
Okay.
All right, so that was VSync in game, and then also there is a site-wide where you can like you can lock it to the refresh rate.
Yeah, okay.
Which again, if you have like I know a lot of these budget 4K TVs have at least like a 100 hertz or 120 hertz like game mode. So if you lock things to 120, you'll have some very smooth gameplay. This is working. I mean, it works great. No game crashes. The audio thing's a little weird. We'll try a couple more games just to mess around with it, but despite the issues and the limited support it seems to have with other GPUs, once you get it up and running, it feels like the Bazzite experience, and it makes me pretty excited to see what this looks like if Steam decides to release an actual desktop version.
They definitely shouldn't. If they could find a way to really fix the Proton layer even one step further and get like Warzone and Fortnite, oh dude, it'd be over.
It'd be, honestly, at that point, it'd be easy to recommend for like people who just want a console-like experience, who want to switch from console and just don't want to deal with any Windows weirdness on a PC. Just get one of these. If they can make it that plug and play, that'd be really cool. Let's try next game. That one's good. Hey guys. So we're just gonna do some Vulkan shaders. Looks like it's running pretty quickly. Curious if this is actually gonna launch though, because it did show this. Ray tracing incompatible GPU ray tracing in at least 8 gigs of VRAM is required to launch the game.
We have 8 gigs, right?
Well, we have a 5700 XT, which does not have any ray tracing on it.
Oh, so you have to have ray tracing.
I didn't know that was a thing anymore. So you have to have some sort of ray tracing supported GPU for this. So that's not really SteamOS, but if we do go to 7000 series, we've had those GPUs now work on here. There's the overlay. So unfortunately, I guess that's a no-go for Doom then. If you hit OK, it's just gonna
it just brings you out.
That
sucks. Well, you just said the same thing.
That'd be
crazy. You need ray tracing? Oh, I forgot
ultra high quality.
I forgot about the menu.
Oh yeah, so it went ultra high quality.
Cool, that'll work. And I don't know if I've ever played Skyrim on keyboard and mouse, or on keyboard and mouse, on a controller. The FOV is so freaking tight. Is this heal? Yeah, I'm healing. This sounds so good on Bluetooth speaker. Why didn't I do this all these years ago?
Who that? Is that your buddy?
Oh. So is this one locked to 120, you think?
Probably on the game settings. So you should be able to. Well, can you change settings in here? I can't remember.
No, I don't think you can't. You had to do like outside. I don't even know if you can go past 120 in this game.
Well, maybe 120 to locked 120 with these specs. I mean, I kind of expected that with a game like this, but
this was a 60 FPS game back in the day. A finisher. I forgot that was a thing. My goodness.
I forgot finishers were a thing too.
Oh yeah, this looks great though. It's running really well. It's awesome. Honestly, the Bluetooth speaker thing worked out. We need to test more games like this. Is fun, but. So I think we have one last game up our sleeve. It's a much higher and newer game called Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunky. All right, guys, last game we're testing is Cyberpunk, and I'll show you guys the settings. Honestly, the biggest thing is we're not really testing the hardware here. We are running high settings with FSR at 1080p, and we're getting pretty good FPS, by the way. We're getting about 120 FPS, not too bad. FOV is horrible. I'll have to change that if you guys want to see it. Just show you guys everything works right, but yeah, crank that. But yeah, running some FSR, it's working. The beauty of having FSR built in is you can actually run FSR across a bunch of games with SteamOS. Not really sure how it's going to work with all games, again, using this install that's not natively supported, but the games are working. The hardware is not limited. We are limited in what hardware we can use, but the fact that we're able to get to work with this GPU and even this newer CPU gives me hope for the future. I'm going to run out here. This is how we'll end it, guys. End our journey. 99% GPU usage, 145 watts. CPU says 0 watts.
I feel like we're testing out coolers again.
We are.
It's like the exact spot.
This is the exact same spot. Oh!
Yeah.
Oh! All right.
Average day downtown. I'm just kidding.
Yo! All right, guys, so average day in the Ville. It works. Some bugs, the audio seems to be weirded out for whatever reason. Not sure why it's, okay, I got pause because there's a lot happening here. Not sure why the audio's not working right. Again, probably the issue with the ISO itself. But now they got it working, it's cool to see the future of it. Let's wrap this video up real quick.
Well guys, it's been an eventful install of SteamOS, but we're proud to say that we finally played on SteamOS on a desktop without having to have a handheld or anything crazy like that, and we hope that one day it can be a combatant to Windows.
Yeah, this is really cool to see a full official version of SteamOS. If you're at home trying to do this yourself, you can run SteamOS, but just know the GPU selection is very limited with the GPUs we at least got working. Now, if you are interested in getting the Linux for the first time, I would recommend Bazzite over this right now because it works way better with a wide range of different GPUs. But again, it's still cool that we're able to get this to work, and maybe, just maybe, Steam will release an actual desktop version here in the future to make some really awesome budget gaming PCs for you guys. So if you guys want to try this SteamOS yourself, link in the description down below. It's not an affiliate link, because it's a free ISO, so I don't know why I was going to transition to that there, but use that link, give it a shot, and let us know what you think of SteamOS, and will you install it on your PC?
So as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you check out our other 2 YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/ToastyBros. Oh, and do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Wow, Jackson stopped working. We'll see you guys later. Goodbye.
Ooh, yeah. Match our freak at pcbros.tech, because we only hire freaks.
This guy behind the camera, you should hear the things he says to us off camera. It's crazy. But if you buy a PC at PC Bros, you get that warranty, customer support, and you don't need to deal with SteamOS. You'll get Windows working, ready to go. You just go Toasty Bros on checkout. You'll save 3% on your next purchase. See you guys later. Goodbye.
3%.